Okay, so welcome to episode 5 of Tainted Lands Mist of Mournton. This is our actual play 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons stream. I am RJ Cresswell, the Dungeon Master. We're going to meet everyone else shortly, but first, last week's session saw your characters waking in Mournton after having traveled into the Wailing Woods with Sweetroll the Goblin to help rescue his friend Killian the Bard, who had been captured by bandits on the Misty Highway. Wallace spoke with Aldous Han, owner of the Leering Star Inn, to ask about a man named Ragnar. Aldous suggested Wallace meet with an elf named Mari, and that he did. Mari told Wallace that Ragnar had stopped in Mournton for a few days, but was on a journey west to seek out the end of the world. Junie awoke in her home with a serious hangover from the night before, and she put on a pot of tea and sat down with the Book of Mirrors, which is a collection of fairy tales the party had found at the bandit camp in the Wailing Woods. She read a story called The Wind in the Darkness that told the tale of a young man named Lessick who had heard a voice in the darkness of the woods and wandered away from his campsite, never to be seen again. Upon reading the tale, Junie suffered a terrible paper cut. Toby retreated to his workshop to examine a stone that one of the things from the forest had dropped after attacking your party. The stone began to hum and glow with a purplish light, and Toby found himself floating in an inky black void, listening to a voice whispered through a cosmic thrum telling him, "I know where she is, Toby. I can lead you to her." Sir Kay spent time alone in his room thinking about abandoning Felly in the woods after the party was attacked. He also read words from an iron-bound book he wears on a chain. The words struck a chord in him. "Everyone has a choice. I've seen it. You can be more than who you are." He also added a few words to the book and discovered a slip of paper that fell from the pages of the book. On it were written the words, "I'm watching you." Wynne was having some difficulty coping with events from the last couple of days, so she took a walk outside of Mournton where she found a grove and a frozen pool. While communing with nature, she heard the cry of a fox and turned to see a white, three-eyed fox with a black arrow sticking out of its side. Blood stained the fox's fur. The fox left the grove, and after a few moments, Wynne followed it into the mist. She found the fox breathing heavily on its side, and she attempted to comfort it, but it bit her arm and ran away. Eventually, everyone but Toby met at the Leering Star. When Toby didn't show, Sir Kay and Junie walked to his workshop where they found him rocking back and forth, repeating something they couldn't understand. They saw the stone bathing his shop in a purple glow and noticed the room was crawling with maggots. The maggots coalesced into a writhing mass and attacked. Fighting ensued, but ended with when Sir Kay and Junie were able to place the stone into a bag of holding. Afterwards, Sir Kay had Toby examine a strange document with a bizarre script raised in black. As Toby felt it, his eyes rolled back, and he began having feelings of a constant, insatiable hunger. With that, Sir Kay, Junie, and Toby began making their way back to the Leering Star. In the meantime, Wallace and Wynne heard the screams of a woman outside the Leering Star. They left the inn to find a woman being pulled from her horse by a cloaked figure. They also observed a townsguard ignoring the attack and leaving the scene, so they intervened. The attacker injured Wallace, but he was able to scare the attacker off when he used divine magic to command it to disrobe. As the attacker fled, Wynne tried to entangle it with a spell, but a purplish-gray smoke filled the area and it disappeared. Wallace and Wynne learned the woman was Emily Mournton, wife of Lady Deirdre Mournton, Knight of the Willows. Wallace tried convincing her to talk things over in the Leering Star, but she insisted she needed to return to Mournton Manor and said that if things seemed safe, she would seek them out the next day. Sometime after that incident, the party found themselves collected at the Leering Star, and Wallace and Wynne recounted what had occurred. Moments later, Sweetroll and Killian arrived downstairs, and everyone shared an ale and goodbyes before the pair set off for the road. And this is where we resume our story tonight, with you standing outside of the Leering Star, watching Killian and Sweetroll disappear to the east down the misty highway as the snow begins to fall. But before we go any further, take a moment to introduce yourselves, tell us who you are, who you're playing, and let us know one thing that your character notices outside of the Leering Star in the square. It could be like a sight, a sound, a scent, a taste, or just something your character feels. So, Eric, let's start with you.
Well, as Kay is standing there just kind of watching them walk off. Which direction are they walking towards? Are they walking towards the Misty Highway and into the wooded area?
So the Wailing Woods are to the west. They're heading the opposite directions. The Misty Highway goes both ways, so they're going the opposite direction.
In that case, I would say, as Kay's standing there, he's watching them go. On the one hand, he's wishing he could go with them, and on the other hand, he almost hears what he thinks is an echo of the howling of the eyeless people that came after us in the woods, but he can't tell if it's his imagination or an actual sound coming from the west.
Okay. Shondell?
Junie's just kind of standing there, taking in like the fresh snowfall and how cold it is outside, but like almost like a refreshing cold, not like a really chill to the bone type of cold. It's just like kind of very refreshing. And she's smelling the freshly baked bread that's coming from the local bakery.
Okay. Lewis?
So as Wallace kind of watches the both of them go away, he's going to have kind of like a sinking feeling in his heart, like a bit of sadness, but a bit of gladness that he's managed to save his friend and that they're away safe, and kind of a feeling of impatience and disturbance. He's kind of almost agitated.
Okay. Jess?
I play Lothwyn, or Wyn. She's the druid, and as she's standing there and smelling the scents from the tannery and the butcher shop nearby, the moment of quiet lets her mind drift back to the scene of the fox with 3 eyes, and she has a sense of foreboding. Like, that's not the worst that's going to happen.
Okay. All right, and I do want to just take a moment to point out we normally have another player with us tonight, Kristen, and she plays a gnome named Toby, and she's just unable to make it tonight, but I think we should have her back with us next week. So in the meantime, I'll be running Toby for a bit. And as you all are outside, you will see Toby. He is sitting on the steps of the Leering Star. And you notice that he's rocking back and forth, kind of much like a couple have seen him do already. And he's mumbling something to himself. You see the color drain from his cheek as a streak of crimson runs from his nose, past his lips, across his chin, and then one drop of blood splatters onto the snow at his feet. You hear him say, "Do you hear that?" And then he collapses and falls to the ground.
I'm just going to run over to him and just start shaking him, kind of like playfully slapping him in the face, being like, "Come on, wee man, there's no the time for this. Come on, up you get, come on."
Junie's gonna, as Junie was watching the snowfall and smelling the fresh baked bread, she was off in her happy place. That's gonna be broken as she sees Wallace start kind of slapping Toby about, and run over to go check her out, see if she can, Junie's gonna look at her eyes, look at just the color of her skin and all that, of his skin and whatnot, and see if she can see anything that's wrong.
Okay.
Could I assist her in a medicine check to give her advantage?
Yes. Are you proficient in medicine?
Me, I think so. Let me double check this.
Okay.
Don't know if I changed it or not.
If he's not, I am proficient in medicine.
I haven't.
Okay.
I changed it for history.
Okay, all right. So you rush over and you're trying to help out, and you have a general sense about, maybe kind of like battlefield wounds and stuff like that, and just, some general kind of like common sense stuff. But, you've probably seen people faint before, but you've never really approached someone and seen them as like pale and peaked as Toby is right now. And then again, there's also, the blood that's just kind of like streaked down his face, and Jess, you will, observe that they're just kind of over there, kind of checking out Toby as he's fallen to the ground. Wallace is just kind of like lightly slapping his face, seems to, be trying to get him to come back about. So, is there anything that Wynn would do?
Would Wynn have anything in her herbalism kit that might help?
Possibly. We could say that she might have kind of like a smelling salts sort of thing, So why don't you give me a medicine check?
She went for a bike ride.
Okay, medicine check is 14.
14, okay. All right, so, you all see Wynn pull out her herbalism kit, and she rummages through it quickly and just kind of like takes out this dark brown like root and just kind of like rubs it against the ice on the ground, and then just like puts it under Toby's nose, and you can see him kind of come back to his senses, his eyes open, and he just I don't feel so well.
You don't feel so well? How? What happened?
I don't know. I felt lightheaded, and then I couldn't stop. I was just falling and falling.
All right. Well, we should probably get you inside and get you a bit of rest. You can borrow my room for the day if you like. You should probably relax after everything that happened at your place.
I think you might be right. And thank you, Sir Kay. I hate to be a bother.
It's no bother, Toby. Let's Jean's gonna look at Sir Kay or Wallace or whoever and be like, let's get her inside and get her into bed.
Wallace is gonna nod and kind of try and help him up.
Okay, all right, and he'll allow you to help him up, and you guys.
I'm not going to, just because I'm tall enough. That'd be kind of tough.
Okay, all right. Well, I think about it. You can help a small child up, off the ground. So same principle with the size, I think. So anyway, you do manage to get Toby up, and then you all take him inside upstairs.
Yeah, I'm gonna let him into my room, and we're gonna have him lay down and actually rest. And I'm not letting him anywhere near the bag of holding. That is like, my shield is slung on my back. It is like tucked up under the shield on my back right now.
Okay.
So are we all standing in Kay's room right now, or did you just go in yourself with Toby?
You tell me.
I would want to go in with them. I would attempt to go in with them if they were walking in.
Yeah, I'd let you guys in. I wouldn't stop you. I'm going up to unlock the door for you and
Yeah, cool. So as you come in and you put Toby in the bed, I'm just going to be like, right, team talk. We've got some stuff to talk about.
That is very true, and I believe the first business is definitely sorting out our conversation with the lady, but that won't happen until tomorrow at the earliest.
My first point of question is what is going on with him, because he has been acting pretty weird recently, and for what we heard, for what happened with you when you went to his, that is not normal.
It's that damn stone. It's that damn stone. We should have never let him take it.
Mate, we need to get rid of that before he wakes up. We need to destroy that, or we need to take it to someone that knows what to do with it, because it's causing nothing but problems.
I don't think we should destroy it because we don't know what it is. We need to figure out what it is, because it's possible it might not even be able to be destroyed.
It gives folk nosebleeds, and I don't like nosebleeds, so I'm not a fan of it.
I just, gesture to a little remnant of blood that's in his hair that he managed to miss.
I'm just going to be
You draw the line at nosebleeds. Really?
Hi. nosebleeds are very traumatic experiences, and you've obviously never had one, or you'd understand where I'm coming from.
Okay.
If you look closely, David knows it's been broken. Like, it is crooked.
Oh,
Wallace is just going to fold his arms and just be like...
Okay, well, Toby seems okay. He seems tucked in. Should one of us stay here to keep an eye on him?
He has been having some pretty mental dreams by the looks of it, and been going through some rough stuff. I would think it wise that we should maybe take watches.
Alright, so...
I mean, this is your room. I don't know if you want to just sit in with him.
About that time, I'm going to assume that probably you guys put Toby in bed and maybe just kind of like stepped outside of the room into the hall, and you're just kind of like talking out there, and you'll hear Toby's voice from inside. Junie.
Yeah, Toby, I'm here. What do you need? What do you need?
It's alright. I just need a little rest is all. You can leave me alone just fine.
No. Considering everything that's happened, Toby, you're not going to be left alone.
How about this? If we all have things we need to get done, we can ask the innkeep to have someone stop in and look in on him throughout the day, if we have to go get things done. Just check up periodically, make sure he's asleep and still breathing, and nothing strange is going on.
Well, what else would we need done apart from talking to Lady Mournton? I don't really have much to be doing myself.
I have to go see the blacksmith, but that's about it. I was also thinking dang it. Out of character, I forgot about this. I need to go check the map. Town map.
Are you looking at the town map or the village map or the country map? The
village
world
map.
Okay.
I couldn't remember if there was a barracks listed.
There's not.
So there's no like centralized meeting area for all the town guards? Would they be run out of the manor, or...?
You can assume that probably a lot of it's run out of the manor, which is walled.
Yeah, okay. I'd like to try and find a town guard and see if we can discover who's the one that ignored you in the little incident that happened earlier. I feel like they might be worth having a conversation with.
I would like to have a conversation with him as well, to be fair, because it's pretty odd behaviour. Although, I didn't really see what he looked like in it. Can't imagine how many guards are in Mournton in general. It'd be hard to pinpoint it down to one specific person.
Well, my thought is, if it's an organised guard, they must have a patrol or a shift schedule, so we can always just ask them about that and see if they'll kindly inform us about who was walking through the square at that point.
Junie!
Toby, what's up?
Could you close the door? There's a draft coming through.
Sure. Do you want anything to eat or drink?
No, but can you hear it?
Hear
Then leave
what?
him in that room alone. As soon as you close that door, something bad is going to happen. He needs to be under watch. Wallace is actually going to be like 2 seconds, and he's just going to kind of move past all yous, and he's going to go into the bed to Toby and kind of just like point his finger at him and be like, "Listen, mate, we've got a lot of stuff on right now, and we can't be dealing with you having crazy episodes, right? So pack it in. Enough. You're no getting left alone, alright?" And I kind of giving him a bit of trouble. You can see Wallace is just sitting like that, kind of pointing his finger at him.
Wallace, calm down. Stop interrogating Toby. There's something wrong with him. You need to stop.
I know there's something wrong with him. He's doing my nutting, but I'm trying to get him to calm down now. Right.
Well, maybe
Toby.
he can't help it.
Wallace at this point is going to get like really agitated and turn around and go, Do you know where there's a healer? Someone to look at him. When do you know if, like what this is about? What this is? This is very strange behaviour.
No, I can't say that I do. Anyone who was acting like this back in Black Sands would be going to the clerics in the city.
Funnily enough, I am a cleric, but no that kind of cleric. I find myself pretty useless here right now, which is annoying, but is there anything I could do? I mean,
Depends on what you have prepared.
I've literally got Spare the Dying. I've got Cure Wound.
That's the thing, is we
But
can't
that's
tell
not
if
really going to do anything. I can't tell if it's like just a waste to try and heal it, because it's not necessarily. It's more like a psychological thing.
I'm just
Right,
gonna like lean into the room a little bit and just say, Toby, what do you hear right now?
I hear the wind. The wind in the darkness.
You hear the darkness?
That is mental.
Is it speaking
We
to you
need
at
to-
all, or is it just a noise?
All right, and with that, he kind of like just falls asleep on the bed.
He is at it.
Okay. I don't think that Toby should be left alone. I mean, I know that we can get the barkeep to check in on him or whatnot, but I don't think that's a good... I think one of us needs to stay here with him. So I will stay. You two can go, and Junior's pointing out to Kay and Wallace. You two go and do your business, find your guard, whatever you need to do. While you're out, however, if you could find somebody who might know something about this gem, I think that's where we should start.
And you've got this gem in your bag.
Yes, and I'd like to leave it in there as long as we possibly can.
I'm in
Don't
agreement with
touch
Ginny
it.
that we should get this checked out, but because this is pretty, I don't know, unnatural stuff that's going on with this stone, and I think the longer that it's left in your bag and we don't know what it is, the worse things are going to get. Nothing good has come about this stone, and we need to get it examined by someone who knows what they're talking about.
Agreed.
Let me interject something real quick because I have a question. Is anyone proficient in Arcana?
No.
No.
I think Toby is, but he's...
Toby
wake him
is.
up. Wake him up.
Let me just confirm real quick because I'm looking. Shondell, are you sure that Junie's not? Because I do believe that your background gave you.
If it is in there, it's something I didn't choose to be proficient in. So
Okay. All right then. Okay, so nobody's proficient in Arcana. Never mind.
No.
All right.
Right, well, I mean, I have to visit the blacksmith, but we could always swing by the general store, check it out,
Right.
maybe see
Well-
if they can appraise the stone.
Right, well, if Junie's going to stay, then me, you, and one will go or something. Be something to do.
Alright, we'll try not to be out too long.
Aye,
maybe
we'll be as quick as we can. I mean, what are you doing at the blacksmith's?
I took some of the armor and the weapons from the camp, just plan to sell them and split the gold.
Alright, fair enough. That's a good idea, actually. Should we maybe group together? What other stuff have we got? Anything that we could potentially sell? What about that book that you had, Junie?
I'm not touching that thing again.
Jink,
If you'd like it, it's on my kitchen table at home.
Well,
Right,
seeing as
well-
none of us know where you live, that is
Yeah.
more than likely out of the question.
I do not know my way about here, sorry, but maybe we could get it and sell it later at another time. If you're staying here with Toby, don't worry about it. I'm not just going to go to your house and start taking stuff out of it yet.
Oh, I also have a pearl. That might be worth selling.
Have a what?
I have a pearl. It's in Nova's bag.
All right.
Yeah, I have one gold earring if you'd like to also
okay.
sell it.
Aye, we could sell that. I mean, I don't really have much. I've got these furs, but I plan on using these.
Hang on.
I've got incense. I don't know if anyone would need that. I don't really feel like I need that.
Let's just go see. I also have a small glass bowl that I need to get checked out. I don't know what it does. If it does anything. Seems a bit odd that it would just be in a random magical bag.
Okay.
Well, let's
Let's head
go
into
get
the
some.
blacksmith. We'll sell some of these things. We'll head to the general store and see if they can appraise the stone.
Sounds like a plan. Let's get to it. Are we sure we want to leave Junie alone with Toby?
I can handle Toby. Don't worry about me. Worst case scenario, if you hear screams, just come running.
As far as I can tell, the only time something happens beyond Toby is when he's in contact with the stone.
They're taking that away from him.
Most likely anything that will happen will just happen to him. Hopefully.
Hopefully. Just hurry back just in case.
Good plan.
We'll be quick. Right, let's boost. And he's going to kind of lick his hand and try and get that bit of blood that Kay pointed out earlier. Kind of a bit self-conscious about having blood in his hair not washed out before going to the shop.
All right. So the way I understand the plan, Junie is going to stay with Toby, and then is everyone else kind of going about to different shops and what have you?
Yeah. I figured the blacksmith isn't as important. I just want to ditch the 5 scimitars and 5 sets of leather armor that I have in the bag.
Okay.
Gold. So, like, we can montage through that if you want.
Sure. Yeah, I don't want to take a whole lot of time doing that, but let me open up to...
Scimitars are usually, like, new, they're 25 gold pieces, and leather armor is 10 gold pieces per
All right.
piece. I wrote that stuff down.
Okay. All right, 10 gold pieces for the leather armor, you said?
Yeah, so there's 5 of those and 5 scimitars, so it just depends on what they're willing to give me for it.
Okay. All right, so where are you going first with that?
I'd say blacksmith first, and then we end on the general store.
Okay.
Because I would try to sell the scimitars and the armor to the blacksmith more than the general store, if I could.
Okay. All right, so you've looked at the map. You've noted on there that the blacksmith is a shop kind of like right outside the walls of the manor. Okay. You've never really been to it before, but in game terms, we can assume that you will kind of like go about asking questions, perhaps of Aldous, the innkeeper. You know, so you know, he'll give you directions to it. It tells you that it's just kind of like right outside and to the left of the gates of Mournton Manor. So he tells you that it is a place called... Oops, I lost my place on my notes. War Wounds Anvil.
Cool.
Anything else that I can do for you? Fancy another ale before you go?
If you can, if we're gone more than, say, an hour, do you mind checking in on my room? We have the gnome and our friend Junie looking after him in there. He's fallen a bit ill, unfortunately. So if you could just check in, see, make sure everything's alright, and see if maybe they need some food. If we're gone more than an hour.
Sure thing. I'll send someone up. Ill how? You know.
Oh, he's got a bit of a weak constitution, it appears. He fainted from the cold.
All right. Well, he is a rather old fellow. So, sure thing. I'll send someone up.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. So, you all will head out into the square, and you make your way across it. And again, there's kind of like this, it's not a super heavy snow falling right now, but it's coming down fairly consistently. You see that it's beginning to kind of like dust the roofs of buildings and beginning to accumulate here and there. And you cross the square past the willows, and then you will end up going down a lane that kind of like leads directly into Mournton Manor. And when you get there, you know, it's just kind of like these, you know, large palisade around the manor house. And then kind of like to the left of the gate, you will notice, you know, just kind of like smoke billowing. It's kind of like an open, you know, shop type area. It's got kind of a closed shop behind it, but you can see a few people in the open area of it, just kind of like, working away, heating metal, hammering metal, things like that. You hear it before you get there, and you can just kind of like, smell the scent of it as you approach.
Cool. Just gonna walk right up to the most counter-esque portion of the blacksmithy I can find.
All right.
Say, hello there. Any of you free to do some business?
What do you need? And this half-orc woman will turn around. She's, pretty stout. As you approach her, she's got a hammer in one hand and a pipe in the other. And she was, kind of like banging on a rod of metal as you approach. She wears an eye patch over one eye, and she's fairly muscular. What can I do for you?
Looking to sell a few extra bits of weapons and armor. If you're willing to buy.
What do you have? I'm more in the business of selling than buying, but running a little low on some metals.
You picked up a few extra swords along the way. Might be useful for scrap for you.
Alright, let me see.
I'll just pull out the 5 scimitars one by one.
Okay.
Out of my Mary Poppins bag.
Alright. So, she takes them, she looks at them, and, she'll tell you, these aren't horrible, certainly would do, but I have no use for them as weapons, but I could use the metal. That being the case, I suppose I could give you, what do you say, 5 gold apiece?
You couldn't do 10, could you?
I certainly couldn't do 10. I've got to make a profit. I've got people to pay. Young ones to feed.
I'm going to cast command on the blacksmith and say that I'll just be like, I'll just say pay. That will be my command for it.
I'm glad Junie's not there right now.
Pay? Alright. Oh, yeah. What's your
DC?
DC?
DC 13 save.
Natural 18. So...
When I hear that go off, I'm just going to shoot him a look and just say, forgive my friend, he's a bit forward lately.
Alright, and she looks at Wallace kind of oddly for a moment, and I do intend to pay, but I can't do 10. How about 6 gold? 6 gold apiece.
Considering the quality, I'll take 6 apiece.
Alright.
I'm going to look to Circuit and be like, you're welcome, mate. And wink at him. Kind of hushed.
Right.
Wynn's just gonna stand there and stare at Wallace.
I have to resist the urge to punch smite you so hard right now.
Well, as that interaction is happening between you, she will pull a pouch from her side, and then you said it was 5 scimitar. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
So 30 gold.
Yeah. So she'll count out 30 gold and place it on the counter, and she looks back at Wallace. I've paid now. Yes. Is there anything else I could do while you're here?
Actually, do you mind appraising some leather armor? We plan to sell it either to you or the general store, but I'd appreciate your eyes on it to tell me what it might be worth selling it to them, if you're not buying.
Alright, well, don't really work in leather so much, but I'll take a look and let you know. I was a soldier once before.
Oh, interesting.
Soldier for who?
Soldier
Just
for the
curious,
king.
sorry.
For the king.
You took the king's coin.
I did.
Do you happen to know a man called Arjun?
Arjun? Can't say it's familiar. Where would I know him from?
Yeah, he stays in a wee farm, no far from here. I just thought, it's quite close, so.
Afraid I can't help you out with that, but yes, I took the king's coin and the war took my eye. She'll point to the patch.
How did that happen? That looks nasty.
Took your eye, but it didn't take your good looks.
She-
That's what Wallace is gonna do. He's just gonna like meow, kind of purr, and just casually.
She'll laugh at your comment about that. Well, yes, let's have it. Let's see the armor. I'll take a look.
Okay. Just pull it all out. It's just 5 sets of standard leather, so it's...
Okay. All right.
Might have some bear claw marks in it.
Yeah.
He kind of semi-ripped up from.
As you're showing it, she'll, just kind of like, again, I don't really work in leather so much, but you can see here this is fairly damaged, the whole lot of it, really, and stained with the blood. And then she kind of like raises, the eyebrow over her one good eye, and looks at you both, where did you say you get this? Got this?
We just found it. It was a while ago. We just thought we'd sell it.
All right. Well, I can't buy
Wallace
that.
have that one.
I can't buy that here, and again, I don't know how much of worth many will find it. Certainly, you could take the leather and do something else with it. But yes, you'll see here, blood, tears, rips.
Well, we'll see if we can maybe sell it at the general store, see if they can salvage something useful out of it.
Maybe give it a wash, mate, before we do that. Because I think it's the blood that's putting her off.
You're welcome to try, but we've already seen how good you are at getting blood out of clothing.
Aye, well, blood is quite hard to get out. It's a difficult stain to remove. Jeez. Well, anyway, thank you for your time. We should probably get going unless you've got anything else to sell.
Well, what are you looking to buy?
Have you got any sort of simple weapons? I've got a dagger here, but it's not really enough. I'm wanting something a bit sharper.
All right, she'll kind of like go over to not go over to. She'll actually motion for you. Just a moment, and she'll step inside the closed portion of the shop, and then she'll come back out with an axe and a sickle, and she'll present them both to you. So you're looking for something simple?
Yeah, simple
sharp?
weapon.
All right. Well, I make hand axes here. I make sickles. All things used by farmers and carpenters, but could certainly be used in combat as well.
So would a hand axe be like a simple weapon? Because that's the only type of weapon I can use.
Yeah, hand axe is a simple weapon.
Okay. And what's the damage for that? I'm assuming it's more than a...
It's 1d6.
1d6, yeah. Okay, how much are you selling a hand axe for?
I'll take 5 gold.
What if I gave you this dagger as well? Would that maybe bump the price down a wee bit?
I'd give it to you for 4 for the dagger.
The deal's a deal. I hand over 4 gold.
Okay. So she'll take the dagger, the 4 gold. Anything else? And she'll look at Sir Kay and Wen.
No, I think I'm good.
I'm pretty well set as well. Thank you.
All right. You're more than welcome. If you find you fancy anything a bit larger, come back. I've got more complex weapons in there.
Well done.
And then she looks at Sir Kay. Yeah, and she looks at Sir Kay because you've got the huge sword, across your back.
Yeah, that's why you looked at Sir Kay.
Yeah.
Sorry, my brain just went totally the wrong direction. Anyways, I'll just kind of nod, give her a smile, and just say, I appreciate it, but this one's been with me through a bit too much to give on it quite yet.
All right. A good sword is a keeper.
Have you got a name for it? They say all good swords have names.
As we're walking out, like, once we're out of earshot of the blacksmith, I'll just look at him and I'll say, no, because I've yet to see if this is a good sword or a bad one.
Wallace just laughs.
All right.
That's it for me.
Okay. All right. Anything else you guys wish to do while you're out and about town?
Right, now that we've got that out the road, we're going to take this stone. I mean, I think, to be honest, we should probably chuck that armour that's naked. We could burn it if you want. I like setting things on fire.
Let's try not to be starting any fires within the city limits, please.
No, in the city we could have a wee bonfire, you know what I mean? Like, it could be chill if Toby's alright in that.
Maybe we should
bonfire.
try and see what it is before we try and burn it.
The leather armour's pretty destroyed, not the stone. We should go and get the stone checked out.
Okay.
I was just saying the leather armour's pretty useless.
What if we take the leather over to the tannery, see if they can take it for scraps, and possibly salvage some useful bits out of it?
I guess that's the sensible thing to do. Oh well, there'll be plenty more things to set on fire.
No doubt, as long as I'm not in range.
Okay.
So to the general goods store or the tannery first then?
Gotta check the map. I think the general goods store is closer.
Yeah, it's closer to where you are.
Let's go
And
there then.
you've seen the general goods store across the square before.
Yeah. So let's go there first, and we'll just kind of loop.
Yeah, we'll just like walk around and then walk back to the pub.
Okay. All right.
Oh, one quick question. While we're walking away from the manor, are the gates open or closed?
They're currently closed, and there are a couple of guard posted out front.
I'd like to go up to one of them and
Right.
just...
As you approach, you notice that they are pretty darn vigilant right now, and they're both have halberds, and they kind of present. And as you get like any tiniest bit close, look like you're approaching. They'll present them and halt there, halt you.
No there. Just coming to ask a question of either of you, really. You wouldn't by chance know who the guard was who was on patrol in the square earlier today, would you?
No idea. And what is it of you?
Oh, they helped one of our friends on the road. I was hoping to give them a proper thank you, but you don't know who they were. That's perfectly fine. Do you have any possible way I could find out? I was really hoping to buy them a drink or something over at the Leering Star later.
They'll kind of look at one another. And the one who, kind of was a little more dominant earlier we could ask around, I suppose. Who's looking for him?
Sir Cadron Lorinal, Knight of the Road.
At the Leering
find
Star.
out- Just send him to the Leering Star. I'll have a tab open for them.
All right. If we find out, we'll let him know.
Much appreciated. Good day to you both.
All right. Okay. All right. Now you head towards the trading post, not the tannery.
Yeah, trading post first, then we'll just hit the tannery and loop back to the Star.
All right. So, once again, let me find my notes right here.
Also, just putting it out there, Wily Hobbit, best screen name ever.
Wily Hobbit. Oh, yes.
Yeah, the chat right now.
I see. Hi there, Wiley. There we go. All right, got my notes. Now, the trading post. Again, you will go back into the town square, and you'll pass the willows that you've passed before, and you will see a rather large, kind of two-story building, large for the buildings that you've seen around here at least, and it says Endwinter's Trading Post on a sign outside.
Let's go in. This must be it.
All right. As you go in, you see a middle-aged man behind a counter in there. No one else is in here right now. It is in the middle of the day, and as you've seen previously, the town is somewhat deserted today. It is rather cold outside. There was the attack earlier that you had stopped Wallace, and when you go in there, this middle-aged man will kind of look up and welcome to Endwinners. What can I do you for today?
Actually, looking to sell a few items and possibly have something appraised. See if you can make heads or tails of it.
All right. Show it.
So, well, for sale first, and I pull out the pearl. Junie, did you give us the earring to try and sell?
Yeah,
Wallace took it. He'll pass it to Suki.
Thank you. And, possibly this, although I don't know if it has any function. And I'll pull out the small glass sphere that was in the bag of holding.
All right.
I don't know if it's just a glass sphere or whatever.
So you pull out the pearl, you pull out the glass sphere. Anything else? Sphere? Anything else?
Earring. The gold earring.
And the gold earring, yeah. Gold stud.
Okay. All right. Well, you pull them out, sit them on the counter in front of him. The pearl will just kind of sit there. So will the earring. The glass sphere that you have is heavy. It's crystal actually, and when you put it up there, it begins to roll. You have to steady it with your hand. And he takes a look at the pearl first, and kind of takes it and rubs it against his teeth. He opens his mouth and. They're not the worst teeth that you've ever seen, but he does have kind of like one black tooth, like right here, and he just rubs it, against the teeth, and he's like, "It seems real, all right. Suppose I could go 75 gold on this."
That's absolutely lovely. What are the other two items?
Earring, it's nice enough. Wish you had the pair.
Unfortunately, the person that turned it over only had the one.
All right. You see him kind of like doing some calculus, and he's maybe a gold for that.
Understandable. And the crystal sphere.
Can I see it?
Please. There's a chance you'll know more about it than I will.
All right. So he just kind of like picks it up within two hands and kind of like looks at it, and he's like, "I can't tell you what I would do with this. I know nothing of it. It's fine crystal."
Then perhaps I'll just hang on to that. Maybe I'll find some use for it at a later point. Thank you for that. Now, the item to be appraised is a bit odd, and I was wondering if you might be able to tell what it's made of. Frankly, I can't tell. And I'll pull out the black stone with the two white lines.
Okay, all right. So you pull that out, and you sit that up there, and he'll look at it, and he'll kind of like reach down behind his counter and pull out kind of like this. It's kind of like jeweler's spectacle type thing, and he'll, take a look at it with that. This appears to be onyx. Looks real. It's a fine stone.
Is it just a stone?
Is onyx known for having those white lines through it? It seems to be a bit of an oddity.
Yeah, so onyx you can find in various varieties. You can find all black onyx. I've seen some onyx with more white in it than this.
Ah, alright.
So it's just an onyx stone, and that's it?
Yes, I mean...
Cool. Good to know.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think I'll hold
Did
on
someone
to
tell
it.
you it was something else?
No, I've never come in contact with real onyx before, so I was curious.
All right. Well,
Thank you, though.
it's nice. If you decide you want to part with it, I'd pay.
How much would you pay for it?
For that? A piece that big? I'd go you 50 gold.
That's a good chunk of money for level 2 character. No.
Mate, Toby's not going to get that stone again. And that's 50 G, man. That's money that we need.
We can always come back.
But I'm
Point.
I'm gonna whisper this to them so that the shop owner doesn't hear. What I'm worried about is that Toby comes back here and buys it himself without us knowing.
I guess we can't rely. I'm whispering as well. Guess we can't have a constant 24-hour watch and have him under house arrest, I guess, for the rest of his life. And he's a curious guy, Toby. You're right, we should maybe keep on to this for a little bit longer until we figure out the connection between the two of them.
Yes, and the bag seems to break whatever connection he has to it, at least temporarily, so let's keep it in the bag for now.
Cool.
And I'll thank the shopkeep and I'll sell him the pearl and the earring and we'll do that deal because the pearl's worth a hell of a lot more than I expected it to.
All right. Well, he will take out a small box from the counter and, kind of like open it and count out 76 gold and put them on there. And you didn't just come here to sell me stuff, did you? Look around.
Basically.
Actually, you wouldn't by chance have any remedies, healing potions, anything that could be used in a bit of a pinch? Seems we might be doing some traveling lately. Soon.
No, I'm afraid I don't deal in anything magic here.
What do you deal with? Like, what? See if I'm looking around the shop, is there like things on display that I can see? That,
Yeah, so if you're looking around the shop, basically you're looking at all kinds of, I don't want to say not oddities, but just a surplus of goods, things that travelers might need, things that adventurers might need. You see kind of like all of your garden variety type packs, and stuff like that there. Essentially, things that you can buy in the player's handbook, is the kind of stuff that you're looking at. Yeah, so if there's kind of like any standard kind of like starting equipment that you didn't get that you need, you could pick it up here. And he looks at Sir Kay again. What kind of armor are you wearing again? You got the sword, the armor?
I'm wearing chainmail.
All right, and he'll look at you. You have a horse.
At this point I don't, but maybe one day.
Well, I happen to know you can afford a horse now.
I can, but, well, my friends here would have a bit of trouble keeping up, so I appreciate that, but thank you.
All right.
What about anything else if you don't deal with that? Do you know anywhere around here or near here that would deal with and sell perhaps things of a magical nature?
Well, you could see Signy the midwife. She deals in things like that, I'm told, though I've never had occasion to see her myself.
And whereabouts can I find Sydney?
Alright, so he will give you kind of like some general directions, which basically consist of like leaving the trading post, taking a left, and then you're going to go get on the Misty Highway, and you're going to travel down until you get to your first alley to the left, and then you'll go down there and you'll find a shop.
Can we say we follow those directions through that narration?
You could. We can skip that quite along.
Yeah, just to keep things moving,
Okay.
Before we leave, is this far away, by the sounds of it, from like how long do you think it would take us? Because
the village is not very large. I mean, it's large compared to the size of your characters, but I would say that from where you are right now, it sounds like you could probably walk it in less than 10 minutes, probably, maybe faster.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, perfect. I consider that more important than the tannery. Don't know if any of the rest of you agree.
Yes, I would like to go to see Sydney.
All right. So let's pause on you real quick. Let's go back over to Toby and Junie. So Junie, you've been sitting with Toby. They've been gone for, I don't know, at this point probably an hour, maybe a little more. Toby has been sleeping. He appears to be fairly peaceful. In fact, his little gnomish nose is causing quite a bit of noise in the room as he's just kind of like sawing logs. Hasn't had any kind of episode since you've been there.
Okay.
What would Jeannie be doing?
I'm gonna go down to like the bar area and get some food.
Okay.
And maybe some food for Toby as well, just in case he wakes up in the near future. Just like some soup or something. Nothing extreme.
Okay.
And I'm also thinking if there's like a library or a bookstore around that might be worth checking out. Seeing if I can, like, if Junie can dip out to go grab some books on this gemstone or something related to whatever's happening to Toby.
Okay. All right. You've been here long enough to definitely know that there are places that you can go, to... It's not really bookstores so much, but there is kind of like a library where you can't really take the books out of it, but you can go study there, It would be kind of a place to do research, more or less.
Okay. So then that'll have to wait until they get back because Junie's not going to leave Toby's side.
All right. Okay. Well, you will head downstairs, or were you going downstairs for food at the very least?
Yeah, just definitely for food. Probably maybe it's like something to drink, like water or something, and then bring up something to eat for Toby as well, in case he wakes up.
Okay, all right. So when you go down there, the kind of like burly man, is behind the bar. Again, he's heavy set, pretty wide. Covered in tattoos, bald up top, fairly kind of like, loud sort of fellow, friendly enough though. How's your friend doing?
He is snoring up a storm up there, and I'm really hungry, so what's your lunch specials?
All right, well, I'm afraid we're only cooking one thing, so if you're eating, you'll be having that. But it's stew and bread and a nice chunk of cheese. Have that with an ale.
Sounds good. I'll replace the ale with water, though. I think I've had a little bit too much to drink the last little while.
All right. You drink the water, you might be worse for wear than with the ale, though.
Take my chances.
All right, and he'll laugh. That'll be just a meal for yourself?
I'll take an extra stew for my friend, just in case he wakes up. I don't think he's eaten it all today.
All right. Tell you what, since you'll not be having any of the ale, 4 silver pieces for both of you.
All right, and I'll hand it over to him.
Okay. All right. And he'll have someone serve you up a couple of bowls of stew with bread and, a couple of tankards with water in it. Do you eat down here? You take them back up to the room?
I'm going to eat my lunch down there, and then I'll take it up once I'm finished, just to maybe hear some chatter around, see if there's any interesting gossip.
All right. Okay. Well, you kind of sit around the bar. Not too many people in here right now. Give me a perception roll, though.
14.
14? Okay. You do hear a couple of people talking about the incident that happened in the square earlier today. It's a table. Appears to be kind of like menial laborers that stocked in for, some stew to kind of like warm up from the cold outside. And, just, did you hear about what happened with the lady? And the adventurers, the couple of rat catchers? Saved her. And they'll go about talking about, it's probably the most exciting thing that's happened recently, and they'll go about talking about it for a bit. You don't hear any tips or leads or anything like that on anything else good, but they are talking about your group and what happened earlier.
Okay, Junie's just gonna eat in peace, and when she's done, take the other serving upstairs.
Okay, all right. Well, she does that, and you return to the room, and Toby is still sleeping soundly. Nothing weird or eldritch or strange or anything like that going on. Nothing unusual, just him snoring and sleeping. So, all right.
Okey-dokey.
Seems a bit of the color has returned to his cheeks as well, as you're watching him.
Okay. All right. So that looks good. That's good news.
Okay. All right. Now back over to you all. Where are you heading from here?
We would be going to Sydney's, I would imagine.
Signy's, that's right. So, kind of skip the walking there. You get there without incident, and you kind of come to that alley, and you don't really see a sign, a shop labeled Signy's or anything like that. But I'm supposing that you'll kind of ask around. There is a little bit of activity here as people are kind of going from shop to shop, standing about, things like that.
If there's people about, I'll approach kind of just very upfront and be like, "Excuse me, do you know where I might find Signy the healer? Sorry, I'm new in town. Me and my friends are."
Oh, it's no bother. She's just right down there, on the corner. Small shop. Weeds or something hanging about outside. Herbs, I suppose it is.
And, well, I'm talking to you actually. Is there any other shops? Who else is around here? What other kind of shops could I find about this part of town?
What's a fellow like you looking for?
I'm looking for potions to perhaps heal myself, maybe other potions or poisons, maybe an apothecary of some kind.
Well, Signy's who you want to see then.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time and
All right.
walk with the wind.
All right. Best of luck to you. Okay. So you head on down to Signy's?
Yeah.
All right.
Poisons? Really? Just, you get a really weird look out of Kay asking about poisons.
I didn't even notice he said poisons. So I think I thought he said potions, but
He said potions,
and poisons.
Potions and poisons. All right. Okay. So you head down. Again, it's a small building on the corner, and like you said, there are various things hanging, tacked up outside the shop. Obviously being left out to dry or something like that. And the door is just quite open. You can tell, inside there's kind of like the orange glow of a fire that's in there. So
This looks homey, doesn't it?
all right.
Well, it should.
Do you head inside? What do you do?
Yeah, I'm just gonna walk in.
All right. Now, it's pretty small. I mean, you guys can fit in there, but it is rather cramped and cluttered inside of here. And when you come in, you do see this kind of older woman. She's got this very long hair, and it's just kind of like, gray and like draped over one side of her face. She's wearing a brownish dress, and as you're coming in, she's humming, and she appears to be working at a table, and she's, tacking something, with a small hammer, And as you come in, you see that she's basically repairing the heel of her shoe, And she doesn't seem to notice that you've entered.
I'm just kind of go like,
Hello.
hello there, like Obi-Wan. Hello there. I'm gonna walk up to the counter and be like, we have something that we think that you might be interested to have a look at, and I'd also be interested at looking some of your wares.
All right. Well, what is it?
I'm just gonna look at Sir Kay.
Yeah, I just pull out the onyx and just say, well, first off, you wouldn't by chance be able to tell us anything about this, would you? And I'll pass it over to her.
You pulled out the onyx?
Yep.
All right.
I was also thinking that sphere of yours, Sir Kay.
In a moment. I feel like this might be a bit of a higher priority.
Well, I can tell you it's some mighty fine onyx you have there. Never seen one quite that large.
Nothing odd about it?
Nothing odd that I can tell from just a general observation.
Can you be allergic to onyx?
Not that I'm aware of. Is it causing you a rash?
No, but it's causing my pal nosebleeds. And I just, it doesn't matter. I'm just thinking aloud.
Well,
Are you sure it's the onyx?
I don't know. I don't know if this. What I guess we're trying to find out is if there's anything magical or unnatural about this onyx in particular. If you would be able to determine that.
Well, I suppose I could do that, but it wouldn't be free.
I understand that.
Gotta make that bread.
I actually have this. And I pull out the crystal sphere at this point. I frankly don't know if it's anything besides a pretty crystal sphere. But if you'd be interested in it, would you be willing to trade?
For telling you what this is?
Yes. Otherwise, I'll pay you the gold for it, but...
But we didn't even ken what that is. Can we not find out what that is as well?
Well,
It depends how much it costs, I guess. How much would you be thinking about charging for your services, Sydney?
Alright, so, I don't have, just offhand, a list of, like, spell services and prices and stuff like that. Eric, do you know where to access anything like that very quickly?
Usually it's...
Because we're looking at first level spell identify is basically what she's going to do.
There is a chart, and I don't remember what part of the DMG it's in. Hold on.
Okay. We won't take very long for that. If we can't find it in a matter of a minute or so, then we'll just make a ruling on it.
Yeah.
Magic items. There. I can't remember if it's under types of treasure.
Yeah, I've never actually had a character try to... Oh, here we go.
Tape right now.
20 gold pieces. So,
Okay.
if you're just asking how much she would charge for identifying it, 20 gold.
Per item?
I'm skint.
Yes.
Right, okay. Can we have a second, sorry, to just discuss amongst ourselves?
Certainly.
Right. Do you want to all chip in to get this thing identified? Do we? I mean, I doubt we're going to get it much cheaper anywhere else.
Here's what I'm thinking. We have her identify the crystal sphere, and if it turns out it's something valuable, we trade that for the second identification.
Let's give it a shot. You agree, Win?
Pay for it.
Yeah, that would work.
We have the gold. The gold isn't the issue, but I'd like to save it if we could.
Yeah. Let's
right.
go with that then.
We'll have her identify the crystal sphere first.
All right. So,
and see if we can trade that off.
as you hand that over and you ask her to identify that, she tells you, well, that'll be 20 gold.
Here you are.
All right.
20.
So she'll take the 20 gold, pocket it in the pouch, and then she looks at it and she sort of raises her eyebrow and looks around at you, and she just kind of like holds it, in her hand and kind of like looks over it, and you see her kind of like whisper down some words and close her eyes, and then she looks back up and raises her eyebrow at you once more, and she's like, this is something called a globe, a drift globe.
Do I know what a drift globe is? Just off of being told what one is? Can I make a check for that?
You wouldn't know what it is, I'm fairly certain. But she'll tell you it's a fairly simple magical device that one can use to activate and cause it to breathe life into a light into an area. It will emanate light and follow you around.
Oh.
That's pretty handy.
Would you be willing to take it as payment for a second identification?
You mean without paying me? And she'll look at it and...
Would trade you the sphere for the identification if it's worth enough to you. If you're willing.
Pay the difference.
Alright. She'll kind of huff a little bit and, I suppose I could do that.
We may also be buying potions from you in a moment, so hopefully things will level out.
Alright, so...
You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, know what I mean?
Alright, okay. So she'll take out or she'll take the drift globe and sit it kind of on a shelf behind her. There's a basket in there with some herbs, and she just kind of like places it in there on the shelf. And then she, can I see the stone, please?
Yes, certainly.
All right. And she takes it, and she places it on the table in front of her. And when she sets about this time, you notice that she actually reaches into a pouch, and you observe a significantly more intricate ritual go about this time as she sprinkles, something over it, and it kind of like lands upon the stone, and like smoke, kind of comes up, and she just kind of like wafts it out around her, and sniffs it in, and then she, kind of like just zones out, eyes roll back in her head for a minute, and
so hold on a minute. Did she just inhale the onyx?
No. She
oh no, she's done it with like.
Yeah, no, she like sprinkled some stuff on it, and then just immediately the smoke started coming up from it, and she, the onyx is still there in front of you. It's just within a cloud of smoke.
Right, cool. I thought she just like smoked her onyx or something. I was like, what?
No, but she didn't actually cast Identify the first time. She just knew it was a drift globe and still charged us 20 gold for it.
All right, maybe. Anyway, so her eyes kind of like roll back in her head for a bit, and she kind of like snaps through, and she looks a little. She looks, very disturbed, and she's kind of like breathing a little heavily, and she's like, "Hey, it sees through there. There is a powerful enchantment on this. I don't know what to call it, but a stone of seeing, something powerful can communicate through this." I wouldn't keep it if I were you.
Do you want it, like?
I don't want it here, no.
Then you would by chance know how we can destroy it, would you?
All right. You could perhaps get someone to break the magic enchantment on it.
Could you do something like that?
Dispel magic. She kind of mutters to herself, dispel magic. Let me check that spell real quick.
It is permanent if it succeeds, by the way.
Yeah.
As far as I know. I had that come up in a home game at one point.
Okay, it's a 3rd level. Yes, I suppose that I could attempt that. That will run you more gold.
How much gold?
More?
Alright. You guys bear with me for a second.
It's gonna be way too expensive for us.
I'm gonna try and intimidate her into doing it for free.
Okay, 40.
What's with Wallace trying to intimidate old people?
She'll-
Easy targets, you know what I mean?
She'll look back at you, and 90 gold is what and she, by the way, I should mention, she didn't take nearly as long to respond to you. She knew already, it's me who had to look it up, but 90 gold is normally what I would charge for something like that. But I tell you what,
well,
with the drift globe, I could do it for 45.
how about I'm gonna kind of just look to Win and Cirque to see their opinion on this.
You said it's quite a powerful creature that resides on the other side of this thing.
Yes, I felt it.
And what did you feel? Did you hear anything? Did you see anything? Or was it more just like a feeling?
It was a feeling. I can tell it's watching now.
If that's the case, I'm tempted to say that 45 gold is more than a fair price for this.
I will chip in for that. I will put in.
Yeah.
So should we split it 3 ways?
Well, if we have enough where we can take it out of just what we made selling stuff so far, if we want to do that. So no.
I mean, it was Sir Kay's kind of plunder, so that's obviously up to him. If
Kay would be willing to like. I've been keeping track of what we made selling stuff. We made after that false identify. We have 86 gold left out of like the profit that we made today. So let's just nix it out of that and not have anybody have to pay for it.
Okay.
Technically, the bandits are paying for it for us.
You convinced me that you'll pay for it all.
All right, so
Technically, it wasn't me. That gold was going to get split between all of us afterwards. So.
all right, so you pay the 45 gold.
Yep.
All right. Now I feel that I must tell you, you are paying for me to cast this spell, and sometimes it's successful and sometimes it's not. That's just the way it works. But I will do my best.
I feel like the attempt is more than worth the gold at this point.
Okay. All right. So with this, she has no materials at all that you see her pull out of a pouch or whatever, but she does, do some like, she speaks in some kind of language that you don't understand, and a very serious grimace comes across her face, and then she moves her hand in various arcane patterns. And
can I insight check this person, please?
Sure.
Okay, that's a 12.
Okay, a 12. It looks like she's casting a spell to you.
Yeah, but is there? Don't know. I don't know her. I don't know if it's just me coming across it. Is her whole demeanor? Is she kind of like not letting onto something? Does she seem a bit creepy and like I don't know?
She's older. She's a tad bit witchy, but she doesn't seem like she's a midwife. She's kind of weird, eccentric. Kind of is what you're getting from her. And
Okay.
not that Sir Kay probably knows this, but meta. Yeah, she knew what it was. She didn't.
That's player knowledge, anyways.
That's Kay has no idea. But
Yeah, neither does.
she knew what the drift goes, but she does appear. I mean, you cast spells of your own, and she appears to be working arcane magic right now. So
Okay, so just nothing funny. It's just because of the whole like inhaling fumes and all that. I was just a bit like, right, what is?
yeah.
Is she high right now?
Or is she a hag?
Okay, all right. As she casts the spell, once she finishes, the stone fractures into 3 pieces. Like she didn't touch it at all. And it just breaks into 3 chunks on the table. And they're clean. It just kind of like shattered all across.
I'm gonna
cracked apart.
guess that's a good sign.
Did it work?
I believe it's successful. I don't think that would have happened otherwise. And I don't feel it anymore.
So, regular pieces of onyx. We might as well hang on to it and see if we can sell it.
Do you want to buy any onyx off us?
No, I'm afraid I don't really work with stones here. I'm sure you could sell it. Not quite as nice as it was, though.
Very well, thank you. By chance, and we can montage out the rest of this because I know we're spending a lot of time on shopping right now.
Yeah.
Would she have any healing potions available? Like,
yes, and we will just kind of skip the RP on that, and they're 25 gold apiece for your standard healing potions.
Right, I don't want one.
I've got 2 in the bag, so
I would say Wallace is cool, and after the stones broke up and she's not interested, he'd probably just leave.
okay. Well, I'll be back if we run out of our current supplies, but I think we'll be set for now. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So are we just leaving the onyx on the table, or are we picking it up?
Oh, I take that onyx. We're selling that.
Yeah.
I'm selling that.
All right. Okay.
No.
Now,
Preferably to 3 different locations so that Toby never finds the pieces.
all right. So from here, were you going to head back, or what are you doing now?
Yeah, I feel like we've taken long enough where, like, Kay would start to get a little bit antsy and he'd want to head back to check on Toby.
I'd be very time conscious. He'd be like, we should probably be getting back to check on Toby.
Okay.
And Judy,
Yeah.
make sure everything's alright.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. So,
So,
we're at 8:20 now. Shall we pause for maybe like a 5-minute break? Or
Yeah.
8:20 my time.
Yeah,
9:20.
sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to pause for a 5-minute break, and then we'll meet back. 5 minutes or a little more, pick up from there, and then we'll say that you've made it back to the Leering Star when we pick back up.
Sweet.
cool.
All right.
Season 5.
All right. Well, we're back from our little break, and where we're coming back in is your characters have just spent a little bit of time going around the village of Mournton. Now, you've been here for some days, and you haven't really had much of an opportunity to explore or unwind. And in fact, it's, kind of been like since you've been here and undertaken the task of helping to rescue Killian, you've had barely a moment to breathe, You've stolen a couple of moments to yourselves here and there. But other than that, it's been fairly hectic, kind of like going from one thing to the next, traveling to the Wailing Woods, coming back, and what have you. But you just traveled around, made a little extra coin, and undertaken the task of destroying whatever enchantment was on that onyx that you were carrying, the one that seems to have sort of taken hold of Toby's mind as far as you can tell, but you're confident that that's been destroyed, and very much seemed like Signy had cast a spell. It shattered without her touching it, and she told you that she no longer felt whatever it was. So you've arrived back at the Leering Star.
Straight up to your room then, Kay.
Mm-hmm. Not wasting any time. Go straight up to my room, unlock it.
Okay.
I'll knock to let Judy know I'm coming in, then unlock it.
Okay. You'll hear the knock, and then you'll hear someone obviously unlocking the door, not just trying to break it down or anything. So, door will open. It will be Kay and Wallace and Wynn, and they arrive back. As you go into the room, you will see that Toby is still on the bed. Like I told Junie earlier, it appears that much of the color has come back into his cheeks, and he's lying on the bed and he's snoring very loudly, in fact. And I would say, Junie, you're probably about ready for a break from hearing this, because you've suffered through it considerably. There is a tray or a bowl of a stew and bread and a hunk of cheese and a tankard of something sitting on the stand by your bed, Sir Kay. Doesn't look like it's been touched at all. So,
Well, at least the whole block know he's breathing.
Thank gosh you guys are back. You have no idea how crazy his snoring has driven me. And there's some stew if you guys want. Clearly he's not going to wake up anytime soon to eat it. I am going to step out to get some fresh air. I'll be right back, and then we will talk about what happened if you guys figured out what was going on with the stone. I need a break, though.
Bags of the stew.
Alright, fine. I want the cheese.
I'm
Kay
lucky
just
one.
sits there eating cheese.
all right, so you take this block of cheese
Yep.
and begin eating it. When they seem to have left you without anything but a tankard of water.
Nice.
I'll offer her some of this shit, like, as I'm kind of like chewing it in my mouth and be like,
Oh, sure. You offer her some of it.
And there was bread as well, so there is a chunk of bread there too. I forgot to mention. So, but we're going to pause on you all for just a bit, because Junie's been sitting patiently. So, is there anything that Junie would have liked to have accomplished in her a bit of a breather here?
She's gonna kind of go out to like the square, like just not into the square or whatnot, just outside of the doors of the Leering Star, and kind of try to remember where the the library is, just in case, because like she doesn't know if they found anything out about the stone or whatnot, so she's just mapping that out. And she's just calming herself down, because as she had to listen to this obnoxiously loud snoring, she was losing her mind.
Yes. All right. So Junie steps out of the Leering Star into the town square, and I can tell you she has no problem remembering where that library is, because you came here to do some research, per your interest, and you've been there before, but you've not spent yet a significant amount of time there. You've gone there to kind of research a couple of things about the land beyond the mountains. So she does know where it is. Now, as you step out there, you kind of like walk about the square, just sort of like, getting a bit of a rest from hearing Toby snoring, and, getting some brisk cold air, fresh breath. So as you kind of walk about, you hear a commotion. And at first, you think, what now? But then you realize it's the laughter of children. Moments later, you're pelted.
That's a horrifying thing.
Moments later, you're pelted by a snowball, and it just kind of like explodes into this, burst of powder about you that kind of glistens in the bit of sunlight that's breaking through the fog. And then a young child, a girl, you turn, it's a gnomish girl, and she laughs and just kind of takes off running towards the River Tyr, which is kind of right behind the Leering Star. It kind of runs along the back of it. So you see her run towards the river, and then you glance out and you see that it's frozen over and children are playing on it. You notice someone that you've seen around the inn. You saw him come in probably earlier when you were getting your lunch earlier, and it's a rather kind of largest bugbear fellow, and he's just kind of got this hat on and this large woolen coat and these gloves and boots and the scarf hanging down, and you see that he's kind of set up behind the Leering Star as kind of this peddler, and he's there with the children, and he's just kind of like encouraging them to play games. Some of them are running on the river and like sliding across the ice, but you notice he's just kind of having them pick up stones and trying to like skip them for distance, and he appears to be giving out little trinkets to children who are participating in this kind of like makeshift competition. And as you're kind of like lingering near him, you see him give out like this little trinket to one child, and he's like, and this one is for the shortest distance placed today. And she looks happy as she receives this trinket, and then runs along with her friends.
Junie is gonna walk up to him and ask him kind of like what's going on, like not like interrogative, just kind of like. Well, no, actually, Junie's gonna go up to him and kind of like make small talk, like go, it's awfully chilly out here today type talk.
Well, that it is. It's chilly today. Chilly yesterday. I suspect it'll be chilly tomorrow. Don't you think?
It's usually how winter goes. Seems pretty seasonably average. I'm not from around here though, so I really wouldn't know.
Right. Well, I can tell you. I'm not from here, Mournton, at least. From somewhat near here, but it's cold there too. How long have you been in town?
Not long. A while. I came here to do some research, and so far have been quite preoccupied with other matters.
Huh. Are you researching trinkets and whatnot?
No, but they do look quite curious. Why are you handing them out to the children?
These baubles are darn near worthless. I've not been able to get rid of them, so they're actually doing me a bit of a favor. I'm somewhat overladen as I travel on my feet.
I see. Seems like harmless fun, although one of these children pelted me with snowball, and I'd like to get my revenge on her.
Stone them.
Snowball! I'm gonna enjoy the snowball fight, essentially.
Alright.
And as you say that, As you say that, he'll laugh, and he's like, "I did see that. You should have seen your face. It was. Would you like a trinket? Because that was priceless."
No. She definitely did have the element of surprise, though.
All right. Well, I do believe that little wee one is right over there.
Beautiful. And Judy's gonna step off, and as she kind of like steps away, she reaches down for some snow, and you see her like put it into a ball form, and she takes her aim and she shoots her snowball.
All right. Give me a dex attack. You don't get your proficiency in on this, but you will get your dex bonus should you have one.
Bit of onyx in the snowball.
No.
No, it's just it's fresh snow, so it's just gonna kind of like explode lightly.
It is very it's very much fine powder. I mean, like this is perfect snow.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. You said dexterity.
Yes.
Okay.
So D20 plus dex.
That's a modified 20.
Okay, all right. So, as she's facing away from you, on the ground, just kind of like packing another snowball, you just launch it, and it like explodes all over the back of her head, and she tumbles down into the snow face first. And then she gets back up, and she looks at you, and her lip quivers for a second. And then she starts laughing again. So once
if I made her cry, I was gonna feel so bad.
This is so funny.
She laughs, and then she takes this snowball that she had been trying to form, and she just kind of like slings it up, and powder, goes everywhere or whatever. So
the only person Judy makes cry is herself.
All right. Anything else you would do out there?
She's just gonna kind of like stick her tongue out at the little girl and then like walk back towards and inside the Leering Star.
She just went out, pelted away with a snowball.
All right.
She got her head, I got mine. We're equal. We're good.
Yeah, all right. So as you're starting to walk away, the bugbear man will call for you, and he's. Are you sure you don't need anything? It doesn't look like I'm going to be getting much business out here today. In fact,
I think for now I'm all right. Me personally, I do have some friends though. Will you be here long?
I'll be here for a while, I suppose.
All right. Well, if we need anything or whatnot, maybe we'll come give you a visit.
Okay, and you know that he's kind of like, he's set up kind of behind the Leering Star. There's a bridge that passes across the river tier, and he's kind of set up near the bridge. You can intuit that maybe he's trying to catch any traffic that might cross back and forth, And then, like I said, in the meantime, just sort of, encouraging games with the children and stuff. So, all right,
Ginny, just despite the frustration that she built up with Toby's snoring, she feels much better now that she's gotten some of that out. Okay. She's feeling much lighter as she walks back into the Lyric Star and up to the roof.
There's some therapy.
All right, so you do that, and then as you told him about your friends, he did kind of like shout something in parting, well, I hope to see you and your friends.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll see us around.
Okay. All right, then you head back to the Leering Star. You probably weren't outside for much longer than 30 minutes, I imagine. You'll go back. Your compatriots will be where you left them in Sir Kay's room. It is rather crowded in there with the whole lot of them, It's not a large room. So, but you come back and you find him there. Again, Toby's still sleeping, still snoring, looks peaceful.
Is there a way that we can subdue Toby's snoring?
Halfway through.
You could put a pillow over his face.
We're not smothering the gnome.
No, we're not.
All right. So
I lean my shield up against the bed next to his head to act as a bit of a sound break, though.
All right.
Sound
You
pushing
can
it on.
you can feel the sound vibration through the shield as it's close to him. So anyway, Jenny, you walk in and you observe Sir Kay with his shield kind of like braced in between him and Toby.
What is going on?
I thought you'd understand what's going on. The noise is unbearable. My ears.
Okay, so he seems fine. He seems okay. He seems peacefully and like dead asleep. I think
Relieve him.
we're okay to go downstairs.
Agreed, let's go, please.
Yeah.
Just grab the shield and I'm like halfway out the door.
Okay.
What about the cheese?
Oh, the cheese is in his other hand. Like, he's got his spear and his greatsword on his back right now. And, like, shield is being carried in one hand and the cheese is in the other. He's smacking on it like it's an apple.
All right. So you all will head out of the room, close it behind you, and go downstairs. I'm going to suppose, given the fact that you've all sort of wandered around a little bit, you might, find yourselves at a table. Some of you have eaten, slightly. I'm willing to bet that Wynn is probably feeling a bit peckish, though, since she didn't have much left over. So, is anybody else going to have any other foods while you're in the tavern?
Yeah, I'll probably order myself like the plate of stew.
Yeah. And we'll just kind of like skip through all of that, but suffice it to say, if you want a nice full meal, then you'll dish out about 6 silver if you're wanting an ale and
I'll mark that
everything.
off.
Yeah.
I'll fill Ginny in on what we did as we go, including the onyx stone.
Okay. All right. And then you'll sit about the bar. They'll tell you, that they believe they had the enchantment broken by a midwife named Signy, who they saw and cast a spell upon it, cracked it into 3 pieces. I'm sure that they'll, produce it on the table and show it to you, that the stone is now broken into 3 clean cuts. Is there anything else that your characters would talk about as you're sitting here?
Yes, Wallace would be like, now that I've got most of you here, I'd like to talk to you about something. Previously mentioned to Wynn how much I like all of you so much, and I would like to ask a favour, essentially.
Drink a little bit.
We have spent a bit of time together now, and you're all lovely people. But I have come here with my own ambitions, and whilst I feel like there are matters that we should first settle here, I would like to bring up this situation that I find myself in, and perhaps we can mutually benefit from this. What we saw in the woods is something that has been sticking with me for quite a bit, and I don't know about you, but it is something that I feel like we should address to Lady Mournton. Afterwards, however, I do feel like we should go back, and I don't know what is driving me to say this, and I know you'll probably think I'm crazy, but I think that going back there and finding out, maybe taking more people with us, finding out the source of that is an important thing that we must do before we leave Mournton. However, if your travels are not, depending on where they're taken, I would like to perhaps acquire your services as well. Once we deal with things here in Mournton, as I do, but I fear for the people's safety here, considering what we came across.
Well, I'm certainly in agreement with you there. I'd like to settle things around here first before I move on. What is it exactly you'd be looking for help with afterwards?
I'm wanting to know how familiar you all are with the end of the world, and if you've ever heard of an object known as the Rune Hammer.
Would Junie know anything about this, being a professor?
He is looking more towards Junie as he's speaking about this.
Right. So, Junie, what I'd like you to do is give me a history check.
Sorry, you cut out there.
If you'll give me a history check, please.
17.
17. Okay. So you very much kind of catch the reference with the end of the world. You've kind of been studying this country, and you know that you've seen a place that lies across the maw to the west, known as World's End. And you figure that maybe that's another way of saying it, the end of the world. So you very much know it's a place. It's a desolate and kind of bleak and, even in summer, a fairly cold, place to be. But there are settlements there. You also know that there is an active volcano there as well. And you've probably read a little bit about that. And it's known as Hell's Azole. So, you are familiar with the end of the world.
Sounds like a great place to be.
Right. But you've never heard of the Rune Hammer before.
I'm sorry, you've got me at a bit of a loss, Wallace.
So does Junie say anything? Given that.
Yeah, Junie. I was just writing all that down.
It's
Junie's
okay.
gonna kind of think for a minute, like try to kind of go through her what she knows and whatnot, and be like, in terms of Wallace, and be like, that sounds familiar. I don't know anything about the Rune Hammer, but the world's end or the end of the world. I think I have some books on it. They're at my house. If you want, we can go there to look through them. But I can't promise that I know a lot, but I do have some information on it.
I would very much appreciate having a look at those books. However, more pressing matters are on our hands just now. I just want to know that we're all in the same boat about this, as I intend to investigate this further. And seeing as we've kind of already been through this so far, I just wondered where you were all at kind of mentally and what your plans were going forward, and thought that maybe we could help each other out a bit.
I'm absolutely, and I came here to learn more about this area, and the more that I can learn about the area is beneficial to me.
I travel by trade. I was more than likely going to head either east or back west, whichever struck my fancy next. So I'd be more than willing to travel with you for a time.
Right.
I was thinking of possibly settling down here, but after what we've seen, yeah, no. Not here.
We've got an important conversation to have with Lady Mournton, and listen guys, you really can't screw this up for me and do anything that would completely put us in a bad position, because I know what you can be like sometimes, right? And things can get a bit crazy with us sometimes. But the guards, this all seems...
Why were you looking at me through that entire statement?
That was a general statement, and that was open. I was not singling you out. And I'm going to look at him as he kind of is continuing to munch cheese. Maybe we'll do that in front of Lady Mournton. We should have our manners together. We need to. This is a good opportunity for us to put ourselves in a good position. I think that this all runs a little bit deeper. From what we saw a guard ignore her. And she will be paranoid and probably not have a lot of people to trust, and she needs to feel like she can trust us. We need to make her feel like we are the answer to things, so we can get to the bottom of this, because she holds a lot of power here. And if she can give us favours, access to things, to look into it more, we might have a chance to start to maybe get to the bottom of this and perhaps go back to the Wailing Woods if... I don't know if this is between the two towns or if it's something deeper, but I just have a really, really bad gut feeling about this.
Junie kind of perks up at the idea of like having access to more things, because she's just like, archives. I'm totally in.
Kay just kind of shrugs and he just says, well, I'm certainly up for doing my part to help out around here. Sort of my job. I really need to get out there.
How did you get the title Knight of the Road anyway?
Oh, it's It's a bit of a general title, actually. It's for those of us who don't really have a place to call home, but we've earned a knighthood, so we most often take the title as a way for us to continue traveling, and we do some work along the way. There are more like me, though they are few and far between, I would say. I got mine just for doing some work just outside of Black Sands.
Interesting. Well, did the Lady Mournton give me a time that she would come and meet us, or did she just kind of generally say tomorrow, like at some point?
She told you that if things seemed safe for her to leave the manor, that she would come to the Leering Star and find you tomorrow. She didn't give you a time particular. I think you had told her that you would just be around the Leering Star, and she told you, know that.
Okay. Wallace is gonna kind of take his leave and what time would it be just now? Would it be like night time?
All right. So when we started, I think it was probably approaching noonish or something like that.
Yeah, it was close to noon.
Yeah. So given the things that have gone on since then, I would imagine you're probably looking maybe 5-ish at the latest.
Right, okay.
By our clock. So it's not quite night yet, but it is winter, so the sun is low in the sky, and that you don't have you don't have much daylight left is what I'm trying to say. So there's that. Now, before you lose your daylight, again, you've had a lot of time where you've just kind of been on the go. And I just wanted to make sure that your characters don't have anything else that you would like to do in particular or accomplish in particular or talk with one another about before we press on.
One question I was going to ask Wallace was why do you need to head to World's End? What's out that far west for you? That's the vulnerable things.
You might have heard me ask a couple people about a man named Ragnar. If not, then, well, bear with me. I've never really told anyone this before. A long time ago, before I left home, I'm from a place called Ironholm, and I, as you can tell, did not really fit in with a lot of people, and I didn't have much friends, believe it or not, as charismatic as I am. But I did have one, and his name was Vitsek. And we were friends for a long time, and throughout our childhoods and into kind of adolescent years. Now this Ragnar was also a good friend of ours at the time. But he had, I don't know, he has a dark heart. He is not a nice man. And he killed my friend. Vitsek was the only person I had at home that really had any respect for me. And since I've been looking for this Ragnar, and I have heard of tales of what he's up to. This Runehammer, it's a dwarven legend. I don't know if any of you would have heard it, but it's said to be an ancient dwarven knight's warhammer, a knight known as Sir Guy Malina. And I do not feel comfortable with myself knowing that Ragnar is looking for that, as it's believed to be a powerful weapon. Most would say it's myth, but he killed Vitsek and his wife. And these pipes I made from Vitsek's bones, so that he would always be with me. He was like a brother to me. And you can see Wallace will be visibly upset at this time. And he'll kind of go a bit quiet. The World's End. That's where he's meant to be going. I spoke to an elf named Harry. And I was told that he was in Mournton for a couple of days and headed towards there.
Okay. Wow, that is really intense.
Kay's face is like set in stone right now, and he's got a very, it's not necessarily a stern look, but he's definitely painted on a face of not giving anything away right now in terms of emotions. And he just says, "All right. Oh. If it's a hunt you're looking for, I'm willing to help."
I'm sorry, I've never told anyone that before, and
It's all right.
it's just strange talking about it again.
Do you know if he travels with anyone?
Yes, I was told that he's travelling with a half-orc and a female gnome. They seem to just be hired thugs, no one that I would know.
RJ,
Yes.
what was the description on the female gnome?
The description on the female gnome, I believe, was auburn hair. I think that's about all that I told him regarding the gnome.
Yeah, that she kinda has auburn hair.
I'd like to use my plot point, please.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
I'd like to say where Wallace got a bit more of a description of the two companions of Ragnar, and Kay knows the gnome.
Okay.
This is going to take some stuff where like you and I are going to have to backfill it a little bit, which is why I'm leaving it very vague right now. But Kay knows the gnome from back in the day, if you know what I'm getting at.
Sure. I think that's a perfectly acceptable use for your plot point there. Now, if we're going to do this off stream, we'll work it out, and then, of course, as I will remind you all, someone will give a bit of a twist on that. So I may contact you off camera about that. So, do you volunteer any of that information?
No, I'm going to say Kay stays stone-faced
Okay.
for the whole thing. Or at least he's going to try it,
Sure.
unless someone wants to throw the twist on that.
No, well, we'll find out
It's
what
up
it
to
is
you
first.
guys.
But yes, so
No, I don't want to use my plot point just yet.
all right. So yeah, we'll talk about that. That is acceptable, and I'll allow it. All right. So
Drama.
you remain stone-faced, though. All right.
Mm-hmm. Stone-faced killer. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
Jess, tell me how Wynn's doing over there.
Yeah, I think she's having some trouble wrapping her head around everything that's been going on. This is a lot more than she bargained for when she left home.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
She was just looking to find a nice little cottage to set up her own little herbalist shop. And yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And now she's falling down the rabbit hole.
yes.
All right. In that case, I will interject with this. You know that you're meant to possibly speak with Lady Emily Mournton tomorrow. You've had a trying couple of days. And we'll say that you've probably spent a good bit more time chatting, similar to how you've been doing now. And, the light has kind of vanished outside. I'm sure, from time to time you'll get up and just kind of like look out, and you'll notice that it has stopped snowing. It was a pretty decent snow that occurred today, though, and like I said, a snowfall built up. But yeah, you've spent a lot of time on the go. Some of you are quite injured right now. Unless you have anything you want to do, I suppose it's quite likely that your characters might want to turn in and get rest while you can, when you can.
Yeah, Wallace would probably go to bed. He'd be quite quiet after speaking about that. He probably wouldn't really speak much.
I'm going to ask if Wallace minds if I sleep on his floor since Toby's dead asleep in my room.
Oh yeah, Toby.
Wallace goes, "Have my bed tonight, man. I'll sleep on the floor."
even though Wallace is the one that's like more injured.
I'm fine. You look like you could use the rest.
Alright. Well, I'll probably be heading to bed just quite soon. Just give us a chat. I'll wake up easy.
Judy's gonna turn to Wallace and tell him that I'll bring the books that you're looking for tomorrow out of my collection for you to look at. I really hope they can be of some help to you.
I appreciate that. We should all be around tomorrow. Hopefully Toby will be awake tomorrow. This chat is more important than anything else, and we need to get to the bottom of what's going on here before I focus on anything else. I don't know what it is that is driving me forward and to care much about this, but I've always been taught to follow my gut. But I'll bid you farewell and I'll retire to my room.
I think I'll join you. I'm a bit worn out myself, actually. See you all tomorrow.
Yes,
So,
me
in the
too.
morning. Yeah, Junie's gonna get up and walk out, go home.
Okay.
Because she's the only one with actual property.
Yeah. Well, Ginny will have no problem getting home. She'll go there. A bit chilly as you go in. You've been away for the day and fire's not been going, so you have to get that started and everything. Everyone else, or at least Kay and Lewis will go up, crash in, or Kay and Wallace will go up and crash in Wallace's room. Is Wynn going to do anything else?
No, Wynn's going to go up and head to bed.
Okay. And all of you will sleep. Until those of you in the Leering Star, you awaken to the sound of someone yelling, "Fire!"
Oh no.
And the acrid smell of smoke burns in your nose. You taste ash, and you see orange from under your door, orange light dancing with shadows under the crack of your door.
Oh.
And that's pretty much how the three of you wake up who are in
Great.
the Leering Star.
Great. Can I crack the door?
You can?
Can I crack the door without triggering a minor explosion in our room?
That you don't know. And that I'm not sure you would think to know.
Oh.
Can I cast Thaumaturgy to try and open the door?
You could.
I'm gonna do that.
Alright. Well, Sir Kay starts for the door. But before you can get there, Sir Kay, the door just kind of like explodes open. And by explodes, I don't mean like off the hinges or whatever, but just as the thaumaturgy just kind of like slams it against the wall, because you don't have much control over how that works. And as you do, you can see for sure flames lick at the walls outside of your room in the hall.
When Toby.
Yes, I'll grab Toby. Go wake up Wynn. And
I'll go get Wynn.
bolt for my room because I still have the key to that.
Alright.
I'm gonna go. I would assume I know where Wynn's room is. I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna be like, "Rise and shine." There is a bit of a fire going on.
Yeah. As you come up to the stairs, Wynn was fairly close on the left-hand side. Wallace's room was like on the right-hand side a little further down, and Sir Kay was kind of like towards the back. Okay? So
okay.
you head towards Wynn's room, and about that moment, I'm assuming that she would probably step outside as well.
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
So she steps out. When you see much of the same, you see some, fires licking up the walls of the Leering Star there, and then and the entire hall is just kind of like filled with this very pungent and thick smoke, and you begin to cough as you're standing in the hall because it's constricting, it's choking. And Sir Kay, as you go to turn back towards your room, the hall is engulfed in flames, and you're not making it through there without significant bodily injury, if not death.
Abandon Toby? I'm joking.
What's that?
Hold on. Okay. I'm going to... Okay, so... Hall's engulfed. I am going to go back into Wallace's room. I'm going to grab the blanket off of the bed. I'm going to douse it completely with my water skin. Like, I'm going to empty my water skin on it entirely and cover myself with it and bolt down towards Toby's room.
All right.
Am I able to touch him before he bolts down the hallway?
I mean, you see him about to do it. You are a little bit of a distance from him. It depends on what Wynn might do.
If she calls out to me or something, it would be enough to get him to stop and, like, at least throw a glance. So, if she wants to get his attention, she's able to.
Okay. Because I don't know if it'll help, but I want to cast guidance on him.
Oh, thank you. I'm probably going to need that. Try not to die.
All right. So, do you call his attention?
Yes, I do.
All right. So Wynn calls your attention and, asks for you to wait a moment.
Yes. I will wait a split second, because I know if she's asking me to wait, it's important.
I rush over to him and touch him through the blanket he's got wrapped around him and cast guidance.
Okay. All right. So you do that. That offers a 1d4 on a check. Is that correct?
Yeah. The next skill, I think it's the next skill check or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, ability check.
All right. So she does that. She says this, a little bit of a prayer or something over you, touches you, and you feel particularly inspired. And then you turn to rush down the hall, and as you do that, the floor in front of you collapses into an inferno beneath. If you wish to clear it and find Toby, you must clear the hole that's been created in the floor. So, what I need you to do is give me an acrobatics check to cross it.
-1. Okay.
You also have,
before he does that, can I cast Blessings of the Trickster on him, which gives him advantage on... I don't know if it's just stealth checks or if it's... I thought it was just dexterity. Okay. Well.
That's okay.
Yeah, I said that.
It's an 18 with after that -1.
Okay, an 18. You do manage to cross.
This is not a bad idea.
And you land, and the flames are all about you. And this wet blanket that you have about you, you can tell is shielding you from the heat. But it is smoldering as you're wearing it, and you're beginning to feel the heat. And you get to your door.
I'm just going to keep my momentum going, put my shield up in front of me, and bust right through it, because I'm assuming it's weakened by now.
Okay. All right. You bust through it, and Toby is there in the bed, and there's kind of like a good bit of flame between you and him, and, he's just kind of like sitting up and looking confused, and what's going on here?
Is there a window?
There is a window.
I'm grabbing him and I'm going out.
Okay. All right. Now,
I'm taking a full dive out the window, and I'm trying to put myself under Toby so I hit the ground first.
okay. All right. As you're doing that, take 4 points of damage as the flames sear your flesh. You grab him. You crash through the window. Give me another acrobatics check. as you're trying to shield Toby.
That's a 0.
All right.
Oh dear.
All right. As you plummet from the window, you just fall in all kinds of awkward ways. You know, you hit, part of the building that's overhanging on the way down. It sends you kind of like tumbling, and you land partially upon Toby. And he's just kind of out completely on the ground, but out of the burning building, as you take 7 points of damage.
Ow. Okay. Ow. Ow. That hurt a lot. So,
Alright.
I take the 7 points of damage. I am going to... Toby's unconscious, right? Like,
Yeah,
completely out?
he's out.
Alright, I'm going to drop 1 point of lay on hands into him, because I have 3 points left for the day.
Okay.
Just to make sure he's not dying.
Okay. All right. He
So it'll
comes.
be like a slight defib.
All right. So you pump that into him, and he comes to, and it's still looking a bit confused. He looks back at the building behind you, which is in flames, and just thank you. And we're gonna pause on you there. All right. Now back to the two of you.
I am just making a beeline for the front door, like I just want to run down the stairs.
As you're about to head towards the stairs, you hear cries coming beyond the door of a room.
I ignored them and I run out.
All right. When do you follow?
No.
Okay.
I go to open the door.
All right. You open the door, and as you do it, there's flames again across here, and you see a family in there, a small family, a man, a wife, and 2 children, and they're just kind of like crouched in the corner of their room, which is windowless, and they're crouched away from the fire, and they're all kind of like crying and what have you, and panicking. What do you want to do?
Well, I think Gwen's probably panicking a bit too, but she'll stand there in the doorway waving to them. Come on, get out. Come on.
And you see that there's fear in the eyes of all of them, and they're like, "No, we'll burn alive."
You'll burn alive if you stay here.
All right. How do you want to try to convince them to leave? You can lie to them, try to convince them, or scare them.
Probably shout on me to scare them out.
My friend just made it down. Come on, we can go.
All right. So what is it? Is it deception? Is that the name of the skill?
Not persuasion, probably, for that.
Well, no. She's telling them that you made it down, which is not entirely true. So it is a bit of a deception.
Sure.
So make a deception roll.
1.
Oh, God.
All right. You're trying to tell them that your friend has made it down, and no, we can't.
You're gonna die if you stay here.
All right, and they're panicked as you wait with them. You'll take 2 points of damage as the flames look at your flesh.
Of 16. Would I be able to hear her kind of pleading with these people in the room?
No, you absolutely took off, and we're going to get to you in just a second. All right.
Cool.
So, you will manage to get them out of the room, but it is going to take you just crossing the flames and just kind of like grabbing one of them and leaving. Like we'll say you pick up one of the children,
Yeah.
and just, run back across. And then the rest of them kind of like follow in behind you. All right?
Okay.
So, 1 success, 1 failure. Lewis, as Wallace is going down the stairs, flames are only getting worse as you're going down. Completely blocking the stairs is this large beam that's fallen from the ceiling, and it's just kind of like smoldering in place there. You can't really get by it unless you can move it out of the way. So, give me an athletics check.
Oh dear, that is an 8.
An 8. All right.
I might die here. I'm on 9 HP.
Okay. Well, you take 6. All right. So you're struggling with the beam, and you do dislodge it, but you've spent too much time trying to dislodge it, and it itself is just kind of like, embers and smoldering, as I said, so it's burning your hands as you're touching it and trying to move it, and you take the damage. But you do dislodge it and clear the way.
Okay.
All right, as you're doing that, you will hear others coming down the stairs behind you, and you'll see Wynn with a family of 4 following in tow. All right. Now, you all get down to the tavern, and it is completely black with smoke, and you hear the crackle and pop of flame all about you. And you can't tell how to get out or what obstacles lie between you and the door. So, what I need from both of you is a perception check.
Am I okay enough to help in a way?
I mean,
It wouldn't even require me moving.
18.
the thing is, you don't really know that this is. I mean, you know about the time that you fall and recover from your fall and stuff like that, because while that was pretty quick, this is all kind of happening at the same time, and it's probably going to take you a little bit to recover from leaping out the window. I mean, breath would have been knocked out of you, etc. All right.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So, all right, Jess, what did you have?
20.
Was that an 18 and a 20?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You do manage to find your way through there. Smoke is horrible, but you can kind of see, you can't really see, but you feel like a draft, like pulling through. So you assume maybe the door is open this particular way, and you just kind of like follow that. You'll bump into tables and things like that along the way, but you manage to get outside. Now, as you do that, you've all sustained a bit of injury, but you manage to get yourselves out, and you manage to get the family out. And you turn around and observe the leering star in flames. You look about, and there's a bit of panic in the streets as you see fog and fire and smoke and other locales. And you hear a familiar whooping and howling sound that you've heard from
we
the
destroyed
Wailing
their
Woods.
stone.
And you see, throughout the fog and smoke and flame, familiar, kind of misshapen forms. And one comes particularly close into view. It's carrying a torch and throws it onto a storehouse. And the heather atop the storehouse begins burning. And you see that is one of those figures from the woods, eyeless, blood dripping from its gums down to the snow below it, whooping and howling. And that's what's going about. Now, the storehouse, you notice, contains food, probably things that have been stored up for the winter.
Quick question. While all this is happening, is there enough ruckus and noise and whatnot happening in the square that I would have woken up?
That's an oversight on my part. I meant to bring you back in by telling you. So I apologize, Shondell. But yeah, I meant to tell you that you would have awoken, and you're probably in the square.
Okay.
You were probably observing the leering star burning, worried about your friends, Toby, and everyone else. And then you see them make it out. But you've observed similar things, and you've managed to kind of like stay out of the way of these figures that are, kind of like launching, torches onto buildings, and, people are in the streets, kind of like screaming, and you'll see some of them, manage to, abscond with like people still living, dragging them, kicking and screaming into the smoke or the darkness away from you. And then you see your friends leaving the leering star. You can tell that they're injured, they're coughing. They've brought out a family. The family is crying, wailing on the ground behind them.
Toby and I come from around the corner.
Wallace is just lying on the floor, like, coughing violently.
Junie's just gonna kind of stay back for a couple minutes just to really observe the commotion and really try to get an eye on the culprits, essentially. And once she kind of knows that it's like they're not really paying attention, whether they've left or whatever, she's gonna run up to make sure that everybody's okay.
Okay.
Wallace, how are you doing?
I've been better, mate. I'll not lie to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Here. I pass him one of the healing potions that I have in his bag.
I'm going to neck that.
2d4 plus 2, friend.
Okay, thank you, because I'm about to die.
Oh yeah, I'm down half.
2d4 plus what, sorry?
2.
So that's 9 points, so heal.
I'm gonna take my water skin and kind of like pass it around to those who need like a drink from smoke inhalation or whatever.
Yeah. And as you come to them, you see, just soot all around their noses and mouths and what have you. So they have been each and every one of them singed by the flames, and
Yeah. I'm
again,
gonna like
coughing.
help them drink the water, and then I guess take some snow and like very carefully try to like put it onto the burns that I can without like putting them into excruciating pain.
Okay. All right. Now, you're doing that. You began to kind of like this little bit of triage here, battlefield triage. Is there anything else your characters would be actively trying to do past that moment after you've collected yourselves?
Yeah.
You go first.
How many of these things can I see? Like, does it look like there is a mass amount of them, or like there's just one or two?
Oh no, there's more. Like you see them going through the streets. I'm just
gonna like look to the rest of them and be like, we need to head to the manor right now.
Good plan. It has walls.
Okay, yeah.
Let's go.
Go for it.
And I'm gonna help whoever needs help to carry Toby, because I'm assuming that whoever was carrying him.
Toby's not completely unconscious, but he is totally out of it and kind of grievously injured, right now.
Yeah, so I'll help him like limp
All
to the manor.
So
I'm actually going to look at Judy and I'm going to say, can you pass him off to the family and take out your bow? Just to take out anything that might be following us.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be yes, I will do that. And I turn to the family and be like, can you take Toby and follow us? And then I take out my...
So, not to rob you of glory, but we are kind of pressing on for time here. My assumption is you will, encounter some of these as you're traveling through the streets. And I'm going to assume, Junie, you'll pick one off. And as you pick one off, two will grab it and like drag it into the shadows or smoke or whatever, and you keep going. Sir Kay, I'm assuming that probably, you would wield your sword as well, and same thing, maybe fail one or two. Same with all of you possibly, as the streets are not quite literally crawling with them, but they are, in many, many places,
I'll use dancing lights to distract some too, to get them out of our way. If we ever see any that are like really tightly packed.
Yeah.
I'm going to cast Thaumaturgy to make it appear that an earthquake is happening in Mournton.
Okay. All right.
To try and like scare them off.
Sure, you do that. The ground rumbles in your immediate vicinity. And you may have startled a couple away from you, in a one instance that, was like coming towards you, ground began to tremble and then it, turned and whooped and howled away from you. Now, as you're trying to make your way towards the manor, through the din and chaos of the attack, you hear a man scream and go quiet. You focus and try to determine where the scream came from, and your best guess is that it's 2 alleys up from you.
I don't care about this man screaming because we need to get to the manor right now because I'm going to die and Toby's going to die and we're all going to die because there's like loads of wee creepy zombie people setting the village on fire. We need to get guards. I don't even know if the guards are in this. Wallace is visibly freaking out right now and he would probably express all of this kind of like in a rant.
How close would we be to the manor at this point, and how many of whatever they are like still around or looking like they're coming after us?
You don't see any of your immediate vicinity, and you're still like quite a distance from the manor from where you are.
As we get closer to the alley, can I see what's going on?
Okay, so as you approach the alley, you can see that smoke billows from in it, and as you look down, you peer inside. And you see the still and lifeless body of a man. His face has been split open, and there's kind of like this halo of blood in the snow around his head. And as you look up from him down the alley, a building is aflame, and you see within the smoke a figure, and you can't make much of the figure because it's blocked by the smoke. Only Sir Kay, you've peered in, and you see its form kind of raise a hand towards you. And as it does that, you hear this sort of tinny, whiny, metallic sound, kind of like reverberating just behind your eyes. You hear these kind of whispers that are cutting through this kind of like staticky kind of wind. But you can't quite make out what the whispers are saying. Give me an intelligence saving throw as you try to determine what it's saying to you.
Okay. It's a 17?
17. As you focus in on it, what you hear the whisper saying is, destroy them all. Destroy them all. Destroy them all. And you take that to mean your friends that you're traveling with. Roll initiative.
What? Everyone or just okay?
Everyone. And we're going to take a 5-minute break. I have to run to the facilities real quick. So get your initiative rolled. Sir Kay, as you're parsing that out in your mind, the figure disappears within the smoke. You guys get your initiative set up. I'm going to set up a 5-minute break and I'll be right back. You've resolved your initiative order. We're just back from this little break, and prior to leaving for break, this voice had told you, Sir Kay, to destroy them all. And you feel compelled to do that.
Okay.
And you turn towards your friends. And I'm not sure who the closest one was, but it probably wasn't Wallace, as he was looking toward forging on to...
It's going to be Junior Win, and I don't know which one. It's actually probably Junie, because I asked her to have the bow out.
Yeah.
So she's
So,
probably like back of the pack.
She's probably the closest. All right. Now, I know that you did your initiative, but I'm going to assume that Sir Kay takes initiative regardless of what you rolled, because no one sees this coming as Sir Kay pivots towards the group. And does what, Eric?
He would have been using your shield and spear this whole time, so he doesn't even have to be close for this. He's just going to chuck a spear at Junie.
All right. Make a strike roll.
That is a 16 to hit.
That hits.
Give damage.
This is going to be real bad, but if he was told to destroy something and he is compelled to do it, he would smite.
All right.
Like, if he doesn't have a choice, he's gonna do everything he can to smite, and like do what he is told in this instance. And I hate saying that.
It's fair enough.
Sorry. Okay.
Out of character, I'm really trying hard not to take this personally.
It's one of those things where he's charmed, but he still knows how to use the shit.
It's good. Just do what you gotta do.
I rolled okay. You're only taking 11 points of damage.
Only? Okay. Alright. Okay.
That is literally all I can do. My spear is gone, which means I have to drop my shield and switch to my greatsword now. And that's it for my turn.
All right. So everyone is progressing along. Lewis, you were trying to bring the group forward, and then behind you, you hear Junie scream. And I'm assuming Wynn does the same. Like maybe you weren't paying too close of attention, but you turn to see Junie has been struck with a spear and given 11 points of damage in her current state. I'm assuming it's probably still sticking out of her.
And just a note, too, they probably see the flash of light, too, that accompanies Kay's magic.
Right.
Because it was a divine smite.
And you can very much tell by the posturing that Sir Kay has thrown a spear and grievously injured Junie. And he drops his shield and pulls his greatsword. Who's the second person in initiative? Or rather, who would have been the first person?
Kay rolled a 0 for initiative, so he would have been last.
Okay, so let's go to who rolled first and take initiative from there.
Yeah, Wallace is up first.
Okay, Wallace, you observe that.
I'm gonna look and just like a complete look of betrayal, like just looking like really shocked, seeing this spear kind of sticking out of like the shoulder of Junie. And Wallace is just gonna pretty much go mental and okay, a lot of expletives and not very nice things. And he's gonna cast Sacred Flame at him.
All right.
Judy's gonna realize that like Wallace is about to go absolutely crazy on Sir Kay right now and yell to him and be like, he's not himself, like something's wrong. As I like in a lot of pain.
All right.
I'm gonna be like, something is wrong and I'm about to sort it, traitor, and I'm gonna cast Sacred Flame on him. He's too far gone now, he's really angry.
Not what I was going for, but okay.
12.
It's a DC save of 13, so you would take 1d8 radiant damage.
Yep.
You take 7 points of damage.
Jeez. Okay. I am very hurt.
All right. So, Wallace sees that happen. The interaction between Junie with Junie saying he's not himself, and Junie, you saw something in the smoke as well. Raise its hand, although you did not hear what Sir Kay heard. You just observed something in the smoke raise its hand and disappear into the smoke. And then you saw Sir Kay turn towards you, pivot towards you, and unleash his spear. Lewis, as you were pleading with him not to, releases this sacred flame that just kind of like glows about Sir Kay from the heavens.
Flame.
Yeah. And it begins searing his flesh Who's next up on initiative?
Next up is Junie.
Okay. I'm gonna still have my bow drawn, so I'm just gonna go with that.
Okay.
$15.
Your attacking's okay.
My AC is 16 without the shield. Actually, hold on. I need to check something. Sorry, I gotta check my Divine Smite. Junie, you're better off than I thought. I can't smite on a thrown weapon attack.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
that was my mistake. I just thought of it. So you would have only taken 4 points of damage.
Okay, that helps a lot.
Yeah, because it was 11 before, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Get back 7 points damage. Yeah.
Okay, I'm still doing good. It only pierced my leg. I got a limp or something. I don't know.
Okay. So did you say your AC is 16 without a shield?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
so that didn't hit.
So you did miss. The arrow, went past, grazed his cheek, and struck the wall behind
Looking
him.
300 was Xerxes.
Yeah, just the... Yeah.
I appreciate that. Next up is Win.
What in the world do you think you're doing?
Is that to me or to Kay? 'Cause
To everyone!
He attacked me. I'm gonna defend myself.
he attacked her. I'm going to defend her.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Wynn is gonna cast Thorn Whip at Sir Kay.
Oh, jeez.
We're going to end up killing him, man.
17.
17
Oh,
hits.
God.
No, wrong dice.
This is not how we're supposed to treat each other.
This is not what's meant to be happening at all.
The hysteria is starting to set in, by the way.
You were having such a lovely day.
We said goodbye to a sweet roll. Everything was going fine. Now I'm unconscious and bleeding out. So.
All right. So, when cast her Thorn Whip spell and just kind of cracks it, through the air. And how do you take him down as that happens?
The Thorn Whip wraps around him. The thorns piercing through the holes in his chainmail.
That sounds so painful.
That does not sound ideal.
Yeah, so Sir Kay, that happens. This Thorn Whip cracks through the air, just wraps around you, and you feel the thorns just kind of finding purchase through the chainmail into your flesh, begin ripping at your flesh as she just pulls back flesh, blood, squirting, spurting.
He would go to one knee first, almost as if he's still trying to follow the command that was given, and then collapse face first into the snow.
All right.
Like there'd be a little bit of a struggle there before he just goes out.
All right. That happens. He falls over into the snow, pitches forward from one knee, lands on his face.
Then Wynn would rush over and stabilize him.
All right.
Bandage him up.
Can I talk when it's not my turn? Can I shout something to her as she's running over to him?
I mean, yeah, because technically,
I'm just gonna say hog tie him before she does that.
I have rope.
All right. So, do you want to tie him, or do you want to immediately try to stabilize him?
You cut out there.
I was asking, when do you want to listen to them and try to bind him, or do you want to immediately try to stabilize him?
I'm going to try and stabilize him.
Okay, give me a
Not
medicine.
healing him, not bringing him to 1 hit point.
Sure.
Just stabilizing him.
Give me a
no
medicine
death saving
check.
throws. 12.
All right. Wen doesn't listen to you. She immediately kneels down and begins treating Sir Kay. Sir Kay is stable now. What next?
Now we hog tie him.
Yes, I am for that. But first I'm going to take the spear out of my leg.
Okay.
I can help you with that if you like.
All right.
Okay. I toss Wallace the rope as I get the spear out of my leg, and then once it's out I go over and help him to tie Kay up.
I'm gonna tie pretty tight. I want it so it's like behind his back, like hog tie him. So his hands are behind his back and his feet are together.
All right.
And I want to make a pretty tight knot on that. And I want to gag him.
All right. Okay. He's bound. He's gagged. You'll manage to do that as there's this chaos around you, but none of the figures approach you or come close to you. But now...
my ass.
What's that?
Good luck moving my ass.
That's what I was about to say. Now you have this very substantial figure in chainmail upon the ground, incapable of walking
Oh, God.
on his own volition.
By the way, I'm a 5'10" half elf who weighs probably about 185, and I'm carrying 153 pounds of gear. Just so you know.
Where's Toby?
Toby is just kind of like, he's, hanging back. He was, you could see that he was like, trying to act but a little confused and just like, what are you crazy kooks? What are you doing?
Hey man, listen. Ken that thing you told me about your imaginary pal? I could really do with his help right now. And if you want, I'll apologise to him for being nasty to him. But we really need him right now because we're in a wee bit of bother here. And do you know that other wee thing you've got, the wee hand? We might need that as well because he's very heavy and, well, we're not really in much condition to be doing anything.
All right, I can do that. All right,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you see Toby, looks a little bit more strained than the previous times you've seen Toby casting spells, but does manage to conjure up the invisible servant, and the invisible servant will help with Sir Kay, though can't lift Sir Kay's bulk by itself completely.
But it could make it easier for us, though, yeah.
It definitely makes it easier for you to carry Sir Kay, though. So there's that. So you will manage to get Sir Kay up, and you will manage to find your way through the streets. You will see guardsmen battling with these creatures in the streets, some on horseback, some, with pole arms. And you get to the manor just as they're beginning to close the gates.
Right, well, my full intention is just to get everybody kind of through the gates before they close.
All right.
Yeah, we just book it.
Yeah.
All right. There are guards defending the gate. So how do you want to play that?
I'm just going to be like, it's not what it looks like. We need to get in right now.
All right. You're going to have to give me... I don't know if that's deception or persuasion, because is it what it looks like? I don't know.
I think Junie's gonna come up behind him and just be like, "We need help. Like we need help. Please help us. Help."
Okay. Is Junie proficient in any kind of charisma-based thing like persuasion or deception or anything like that?
Not really.
All
I'm
right.
proficient in
I mean, they're on the higher side, but I'm not exactly.
I am proficient in persuasion.
Okay. All right. So she is trying to help you. I will go ahead and allow advantage on that. So you can roll a persuasion with advantage in trying to convince them to allow you in.
So that's 15 with advantage.
15. All right. Okay. one of the guards who's attempting to close the gate and fend off people will just motion for you. All right, in, quickly!
Are the family going to get in with us as well? Or is Toby, like, still with the family? Like, do we all get in?
You abandoned the family long back. They were back.
Oh, I thought they were helping Toby up. I thought that Ginny was like, the family, watch Toby the now, and then she got her bow out and that.
Yeah, and then we started fighting each other.
I think, you guys did.
I think when we turned on each other, they probably would have split.
Yeah.
Probably.
True.
Yeah. So I imagine, not so much that you abandoned them. I forgot about them helping with Toby, but I can almost say for certain, once you started fighting one another, they would have fled, within the chaos, into the chaos of Mournton. So this guard ushers you in, and the doors close, or the gates close behind you, and I think that's a good point to stop for the night. All right?
Yes.
The unconscious, hog-tied, gagged. Great.
All right. So this has been episode 5, and I appreciate you guys playing as always. Before we go tonight, is there anything you would like to plug or say or anything like that at all? Jess?
Yes. I just actually got my Etsy shop up and running today.
Excellent.
Fairy Palace Creations. And you can find me on Twitter to find the link for that at palace_fairy.
Okay, awesome. Lewis?
Just follow me on Twitter at DM Nexus and shout out to the DM Collective and Playcaster Society as well.
All right. Shondell?
You can find me on Twitter and on Twitch at Shandy Valley.
Eric?
You can find me all over the place. On Twitter at Eldritch Crow. You can also find me as an admin of the Playcaster Society Discord. We just cracked 200 members today, which was cool.
Awesome.
So that's awesome. And you can also find me hanging out in the World Anvil Discord as well once in a while. So if any of you feel like hitting me up over there, go for it.
Awesome. And let me ask this. I've seen World Anvil around a good bit, but I haven't checked it out yet. So what is World Anvil exactly?
So World Anvil is effectively one massive world building toolkit. So it's a place where you can stash all of your notes, all of your maps. You can link everything together as articles, so you can link from one to the next depending on like what text you use and what you click on. And I actually recently upgraded to their Sage tier subscription. You can use it for free, but paying for their subscriptions ups your features, it ups your storage space, and the Sage tier actually integrates with Patreon and stuff. So if you're an author, a tabletop creator, like you do any kind of design work for games or stories, you can link a World Anvil world to your Patreon and hopefully get some people to support you that way, which is pretty cool.
That sounds pretty cool. I'll probably ask you more about it offline and maybe go check it out myself. So very cool.
I cannot recommend it enough.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. Well, I am RJ Cresswell, and I'm the Dungeon Master, and you can find me on Twitter at RJ_Cresswell, where I just post about D&D stuff, do giveaways, and try to convince people to come watch us over here. So, yeah, we'll be back next week, Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, and hopefully we'll have Kristen back with us next week. We did miss her. I think her Toby voice is a lot better than mine. So, anyway, we will pick up next week with episode 6, and I can't thank you all enough for joining me tonight. I had fun, as always. Hope you can say the same.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
All right.
Holy crap.
Good night, y'all.